Hello and welcome back to the finishing line, proudly sponsored by Hollywood Bets. And for the first time in a very long time, we are on time. Because Tom is not here.
That's true. That's very true.
Tom is still away. He's away at a party or something.
I don't know where the hell he is. He's living the high life. He's a better life than bloody millionaires.
He let us down for the Ascot Saturday anyway.
And he's going away for holidays now, so he's gone for a while.
He is actually.
He's going away on
He's in the
holidays.
gym tomorrow and then he's on holidays then for 2 weeks or
Well,
10
for
days
something,
or
isn't it?
something. So, yeah.
Us slaving away.
Bringing the family away, I believe. So, but yeah, it's Talking Points. We're here to talk about Royal Ascot, all the fallout from the racing, what happened.
Can we talk about Cheltenham after then?
No,
Why? Please.
no,
Please.
no, we're not talking about Cheltenham. Cheltenham is a while away yet.
No, it's not. It's only
Um,
like 9 months away.
give a big shout out to Holly Doyle for winning a classic today, and
Dialer.
someone's just trying to break into the room here. That's what it sounded like anyway.
Good first time.
Any other news before we crack on, Andrew?
No. Bar the fact that we're waiting on Rory McIlroy to win the PGA.
Yeah, I'd like to see Rory win.
But it doesn't look like it's going to happen right now.
There's like a load of holes left.
I know, but you'd like him to birdie the first three at least. Oh, he's gone into sevens. He must have got a birdie.
Birdie the first three, and like no one has done that all weekend.
I'm ambitious, okay? I want the man to do well.
Anyway, yeah, I hope Rory wins.
Any news with you?
No news, no.
You're living the high life, aren't you? Happy Father's Day to the
Fathers out there
Children.
watching.
and to you,
Thanks.
to the ones you don't know about.
There's an itchy back there. We will crack on
We're cracking on.
because we have a lot to talk about. Majority of the group races, so on and so forth. Andrew has the graphics done, so we'll touch on kind of the main points and go from there. So I can't see that because the camera's in the way, but I think it says Baaeed, best in the world. I see Matt Chapman saying that he's not a superstar over a mile, but he might be a superstar over a mile and two. And he had a fight with Kevin Blake about it. And sometimes I just don't get some of the shit on podcasts and shows, and I think people just say things just to be controversial. I'm sure Tom would think he's the best in the world over a mile. I think he is. I know people are comparing him to Frankel. He's a different kind of animal to Frankel. Frankel was keen and put the race to bed very early, but he just travels off a strong pace, and I don't even think they can go fast enough for him, to be honest.
He's by far in a mile the best over a mile. Pardon the pun. Just nothing out there realistically that is going to get near him, is going to beat him. Can you compare him to Frankel? Look, you can't compare two different horses against each other. He's by far the best in the division that he is. And I'll always go back to the same thing with Honeysuckle. If this was Honeysuckle over Hurdles, she'd be saying, oh, it's just beating dirt. I don't get why there's difference of opinions over Flash.
But people would have said the same thing about Frankel when he was racing that.
Oh, no, Frankel was best thing since sliced bread because he was unbeaten.
They question the form of the horses behind them as well. It's always going to happen when you have a superstar like that and they're just beating things and they're doing it too easy. It's always going to happen.
Yeah, but look, he is, back to him, he is by far the best miler around. Best miler, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, anything up. I think he'll beat the 3-year-olds as well. I think he'll beat him easily. I don't think there's anything out there to beat him. I think he'll go unbeaten. Whether we see him next year or not is another thing, but I can't see anything beating him. Yeah,
I don't think you'll see him next year, but probably another race in a mile and then step up in the Juddmonte, they're saying. So,
like, when you look at the horses he beat, you can easily question it. But it's just the way he's putting it to bed. He beat Accidentally Agent Lights on Sir Oscar Chindit or the Australian Rebirth. It's not to be shouting home about, really. It's just the way he does it. It's you can't do much about what's put in front of you. Same thing with Honeysuckle. You can't do much for what's put in front of her. It's just beating the same horse over and over again. And it's going to be the same with him. He's going to do the exact same. Frankel done the exact same.
Mm-hmm.
Bar Sears Zegler, who came over and tried to take him on, he still bet that.
Yeah.
But look, you could spend all day talking about him. He's the best around.
I think he's very good anyway.
He's very good.
We go on to Nature Strip Bolts Up. So this is a really impressive performance. we were talking on the podcast before. We weren't sure of the form of him and whatever. We were unsure realistically of where Golden Pal fit in as well, but we were all against him.
He fit in at the back of his alley.
I only give it a 1 anyway, but it's hard to know. But those American horses are over bet because he won a few races a couple of years ago. But this was very impressive. Very mature performance from a sprinter that's done it in his home country a good few times. I like the each way market on this. Got a decent each way bet on equilateral. So, but he was miles the best. I think he won by 5 lengths.
He went by 4.5 lengths. Look, you can touch on Erad Ortiz Jr. losing the absolute plot, missing the break and decided to turn a 5 furlong sprint into a 1 furlong sprint. His race was over the second he started pushing that horse up to the front. He couldn't live with him. Nature Strip absolutely blew that field away. He even travelled really well. He took a keen hold even at that second. James McDonald gave this fella a squeeze. He was gone. I think the loose horse, kind of helped him up the home straight. Gave him something to race against. And he wanted idle in a bit or whatever. But he's a kind of a late bloomer. He's a 7-year-old now. And it's very strange to see a 7-year-old improve this much in a short space of time. But trainer said he's kind of learned how to be a racehorse. So if a horse turns up like that, if he turns up like that in any sprint for the rest of the season, you find it fairly hard to beat him. But whether you stay over this side or go back to Australia is another thing. Whether you see him going for, what's the one? Is it York?
The Nunthorpe
in York. Whether he'll keep him over and have a crack at the Prix de l'Abbey at Longchamp on Arc weekend. God only knows. What would you do?
I think the Ascot is the pinnacle for them to come over and do it at Royal Ascot. Whether he stays, I don't think so anyway.
I'd keep him over. Win the Nunthorpe, win another one, have a crack at the best in Europe again. Go down as one of the best sprinters of all time.
I think there's many good ones around at the moment.
There's not. If you look through Twilight Call was second. Acclaim Express at 200 to 1 was third. Moonista was fourth. It kind of happens all the time with these sprint races.
The 6 furlong races.
They beat each other the whole time.
There hasn't been a decent sprinter in a good few years.
It's Soul Power. What a legend he was. Now.
Corobeus backs up his Guineas win. Andrew kind of touched on the 3-year-olds. I thought the Guineas was a good race, but the more I rewatched it, and it was coming into this race, I thought there were much of a muchness, and I was very, very much on side of my Prospero. But the other William Haggis horse would have won this race if he was given a better ride. Maljum would have won this. Tom was upset because he tipped them up. I think my Prospero is a decent animal still, but needs to go up and trip. I think the 4-year-olds will be better than the 3-year-olds when they're all finishing in a heap like that. Now, my Corobeus probably done well because I don't think the pace of the race suited him and he was up the rail and stuff, but I just think they're not that great again.
It was 2 lengths first to 7th.
Yeah, when they all finished like that.
3 lengths first to 8th, and then it was a further 4.5 lengths back. Maljum Restic probably would have won, got a clear run. Corobeus just done what he had to do. He looked like he was going to get beat, but he just done enough to get the line. Whether Maljum would have took him into the race more, I don't think so. I think he would have beaten him anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Lucille finished second does nothing for me.
To be fair to Lucille, he's good form last year, and he's good form behind Perfect Power as well. So he's quite decent, I think. A good yardstick, but I think they're much and much. Maljum definitely would have won. I don't know what story with him being so far out the back was. Maybe
there's been a lot of that though over the week. A lot of weird rides been given. Maybe
they thought my Prospero was the better of the two, but when he got going, he definitely would have won. I mean, he was up a stride after the line. So.
Yeah, but look, that's. Do you think now him in his next race he'll be overbet big time?
Maljum?
Yeah,
probably.
He'll be ridiculously short the next time on the back of that. And there's no guarantee he's going to do it. He'll back that up.
I don't know. Like New Energy traveled into the race, and he gave Native Trail a bit of a race in Ireland as well, and then dropped back out of the telly. So I don't know.
Well, he's a horse now. You would have been shocked now if he backed that up going into that.
You want him to run a little bit better, though. In all fairness, like
Well,
Berkshire Shadow is, and they're much of a muchness.
His form before that was 4 lengths behind Buckaroo and half length behind Dr. Zimph. It's okay form, but it's not form that he looks progressive. And you wouldn't think that was his 5th run since April already.
I don't think there's no superstar there anyway.
Right. Let me get over here.
We're going on to No Drama for Dramatized. She was very good. Bolted up, yeah. Good trainer.
Danny Tolhope had a good week.
He did.
COVID.
Probably it's COVID again. It'll give it to me another time.
That's your one.
Fuck that shit. I test for that
okay,
shit.
This is a race. Look, she won fairly easily. The money told she was backed into 5-2 favoritism. Again, what can you make out of it? We don't know yet because they're lightly raced horses. Some are having their first run, some are having their second run.
To be fair to Carabuck, he knows when he has a decent filly because he's had a good few over the last few years. Reflection was a decent sprinter. He had the horse that I loved, Lawrence. She was really, really good. She was a miler. Dandala was decent as a 2-year-old, as a sprinter as well. So he can train good horses when he has.
Did he have that horse, the blue and white checks? Started with a K. He went to Stud and came out of retirement. Somebody must know who I'm on about. He was in the, I think he was in the Frankie era, but I think he was a mile 2 horse. I don't know what it's called. Oh, what's his name? That's really bugging me now. But you know the colours that I'm on about. But yeah, look, she looks a very good horse. She was by far the best horse in the race. She keeps progressing. She'll have a good future. But Group 1 next time for 2-year-olds. What's the next Group 1 for 2-year-olds? This is your area.
The next Group 1, well, there's loads of group races at the Newmarket July meeting, but the first kind of main Group 1 race that she'll probably go for is the Prix Mornia. It's in France.
Hello, Yumze. No. What's the name of the horse? It's blue and white checks. Who James Doyle used to ride it, I think. Probably wasn't training at the end of all this. Kareem or Kazim or something.
Al-Kazim. Roger Chart.
Damn it. He was some legend. Anyway, moving on.
Eldarov bows his head to take the Queen's Vase.
Like
I thought it was a fucking dirt shit race. So
it was terrible. It was so bad. Well, I would say so bad. It was a good finish, in fairness. I thought Colin Keane did enough to get it up, but clearly didn't.
I don't know how they split the photo.
Going close, it was that much in front.
Yeah, this race done nothing for me anyway.
Oh, well, there we go. That's enough of that one.
A Stroll on the beach for Saffron Beach, who's a very, very likeable filly. She's a very striking looking chestnut, so Andrew probably thinks she's a lovely horse.
Big, beautiful chestnut looking bitch.
I really liked her last year. I think I backed her for the Guineas and the Oaks. She definitely didn't stay the Oaks trip. And she ran bad then after that, and I went away from her. But she's putting it all together now, and Jane Chapelheim had a great week.
She did. Had
a great week altogether, and other tracks and the whole lot. So, very good ride. I'm not sure why Adam Kirby wasn't on her as he usually is on those horses.
Because William Buick was on it.
Buick is flying. Ryan Moore is flying. Primo Baccio was a dog.
Yes. It was much of much is behind it, but she had us race to bed 2 furlongs out. You could see she's a winner 2 furlongs out. I think Baskarova needs a bit of cut in the ground. You could see she was struggling from a long way out.
And I don't know what to do with Mother Art now.
Retire her.
Yeah, possibly.
She's going backwards. Like she hasn't had it. She won at the start of the season by what?
That was a terrible race.
3/4 of a length. She was 2.5 lengths then, and Shartina or somewhere 5 lengths behind Space. But it was 3.25 lengths behind Baaeed. Will give you some hope. But it's like one of these horses now will turn up in the Group 1 and be placed at like 33-1.
Maybe she needs softer ground as well.
Yeah, it was rattling quick that over Ascot. Right, moving on.
Little Big Bear has a big future. I thought there's a decent enough performance. Hard to know what to make of a draw all week, but earlier on in the week it seemed to be favouring the side he was on, which would be totally against Ascot, and it completely changed in the big sprints on Saturday. So it's hard to know what to make of it. I think in the start of the week, actually just straight down the middle was the place to be. But him, and we'll touch on Perfect Power, probably had to do a lot of racing on their own. So I would mark up the performance.
I thought the front two were quite good.
Yeah.
I thought Rocket Rodney had to do a lot of racing on his own as well in the latter stages.
We didn't touch on the Coventry, but I think this is probably Aidan's better horse of the two. The other one, Blackbeard, that he had in the Coventry. So, yeah, I thought it was a good performance. Some good horses win this.
Yeah, I liked this. I liked the way he kept on well. Like you said, had a bit of racing to do on his own. Same with Rocket Rodney. I think he'll be overpriced again next time out just because of who he's trained by. I thought he was going to win it half a furlong out, but he just got outstayed. Front two on that, I will be keeping on side going forward. Yeah, they're two I like. No hard luck stories in behind.
Nah, not particularly, no.
Front two, keep an eye on Rocket Rodney. I think he's as well for a bigger price in races like this, Group 2s, Group 3s. I think he has a bit of a future ahead of him. Now, this race.
The Ridler keeps the Norfolk Stakes.
How in the name of God did this fella keep the race?
Look, it's just the way they do things in England and Ireland. Because he won by so far, he kept the race, but he should have been thrown out. It was really bad riding from Paul Hannigan.
Though. But take this back to Angel. When Davy Russell horse jumped across a horse and he got thrown out of a race.
And look, there's no consistency in it. Because of how bad it was, he should have been
the horse, there's no question whatsoever.
Been thrown out.
Everybody bar the steward sitting in that steward's room thought this horse should have been thrown out. There's no two ways about it.
The two Emma racing horses were taken out anyway. The one that was favourite, I can't remember. Wouldn't have won, but the one that was in that it would have definitely been second. Would have given
Wallbank.
Crispy Cat would have given the Ridler a bit more to think about, I think. But
Sylvester Zuza was convinced he would have won.
Yeah, well, he was coming through the horses and got absolutely wiped out of it. So feel bad for Callahan and the Sousa.
For whatever you could have done about the rest of them, the Ridler should have been thrown out and put last. And you can't do anything about the rest of them. But he should not have been kept that race. Paul Hannigan, the thing was, Paul Hannigan knew exactly what he was doing. No way in hell did he try to correct that horse.
Yeah, it was a weird one because if Crispy Cat had came second, I think they would have demoted the Ridler, because then Crispy Cat could have won the race. But because he didn't, like there's been loads of instances of it. But Ruby said it well when they were talking to him. It's like the person that caused all the damage ends up being the person that wins, which is not the right way. Like,
no.
How can the aggressor be the one that comes out on top?
You're getting rewarded for stopping horses winning. So if that's the case, every jockey in the land should just cut across horses and veer over to a rail or whatever way they're racing around. If you're on the outside, veer over to the rail, go back, see you left Paul Hannigan away with it. Ask, why can't you leave me away with it? Give me a 10-day ban.
Yeah,
it makes no sense. It's ridiculous. And whoever's the short should be sacked on the spot.
It was very dangerous anyway.
If I was sitting in that short room and I seen that, and Paul Hannigan came into me and go, Paul, shut up. You're getting banned. You're getting thrown out. There's not a hope in hell you're keeping that race.
He said after then he thought 10 days was harsh. So
ridiculous. I hadn't a single penny on any of these horses in the race, so I'm just talking from what I saw.
Yeah.
And I cannot believe he kept that race.
Well, he did 50-1 winner.
Somebody definitely had it as well.
I'm sure the owners had a few pound on.
Right.
Magical Lagoon battles back to win. This for me is a case of one that got away.
Do you think so though?
Yeah, Cecil Crow is an idiot.
I had the winner now, and I just thought she did hang. She definitely hung, but when she straightened up, she didn't gain any ground.
She's an idiot.
I think the winner would have won anyway.
She needs headgear, and she took ages to get going at Goodwood when she won as well, and everything Tom had to get her up. But Magical Lagoon's form was very strong. I think the form of the race itself would be very strong. The third is quite good as well. O'Brien's Philly history, so it's probably a race worth following through the rest of the summer. But fair play to Jesse Harrington, another good winner.
I think there's a lot more to come from Magic Lagoon. I think the further she goes, the better she'll be, because I think she was just hitting top gear crossing that line. She got headed and she kept going and going and going. Dare I say she could be? Would you go to the St. Leger with her?
I don't know. She probably have a chance in it because they're not really standing out for the St. Leger at the moment.
Right. I actually have one for the St. Leger. I won't say it today though. All hail King Kyprios, David.
Kyprios wins the Gold Cup. I thought it was a good performance. He's very lazy horse. We talked about it before, and Ryan was saying that a lot went wrong and he wasn't at his best. And maybe the last furlong was the only time he actually raced, even though he's been rode along a lot. But he just seems wicked lazy. The family itself are quite good. His full brother Falcon 8, he ran as well, and his won Chester Cup. His full sister Search for a Song has won 2 Irish Ledgers, so it's all there. He's obviously the best of them now after winning the Gold Cup as a stayer, but I don't know. He's so lazy. I don't know what to make of him, to be honest.
I think that race did not suit him at all. That turned into a 2.5 mile sprint. They crawled for 3/4 of this race, and the fact he was off the bride 4 furlongs out because Ryan knew he had to get this horse going a long way out. Mojo Stafford played and put up a good show, and Stradivarius, Frankie would want to have a long, hard look at himself now. That was an awful way to get the horse.
When we get through all the races, we'll touch on maybe some of the jockeys.
For the likes of Burning Victory coming there cruising a furlong and a half out, they're after crawling.
Yeah.
Princess Zoe was off the bridle. That wanted to test her. She was found to be suffering from heat exhaustion after the race as well. She's grand now, thank God. But I think it just turned into a 2.5 mile sprint. But I think Kyprios, a more end-to-end gallop, you will see an even better performance. He keeps sound for the next 2-3 years. There's only one way this fella's going and improving the whole time.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Subjectivist comes back and they go against him.
Oh, if that's the case, the Rex will beat him.
Or maybe Aiden has a pacemaker next time. Feel bad for Mojo Star. I fancied him each way on the day. He just keeps coming second in races. It starts getting to the point where you're thinking, is he just lying down in a battle?
I don't think he done that.
They've tried loads of different trips and he just keeps coming second.
I don't think he done nothing really wrong there. I think he just got beat by the much better, classier horse.
It's a hard week for Ammo Race.
Yeah, I'd say they're still sitting in a dark room contemplating what the hell went wrong.
That happens. Bad weeks.
Look at Tom and Tramore.
Yeah.
What's their name again? Amlo? What are they called?
Pimlico.
Not Pimlico.
Ammo Race.
Ammo Race and version of Tramore. What are we? Oh shit, wrong button. We are next. There you go.
Claymore kicks his rivals aside. I thought this was a really smart ride from Adam Kirby. A nice horse. Beat the Queen's horse. I wouldn't blame Frankie for this ride. He gave some horses bad ride, but the horse just wasn't good enough on the day, or first race back of the season, maybe from the little break that he had. But I thought Claymore was good. I actually quite liked him in his race earlier in the season against Native Trail. And then they brought him to the French Guineas, and he was drawn at 16.
He's drawn in Bordeaux somewhere.
And I think the price he was 8-1 odd was because of that race, because he was basically all but pulled up. But clearly wanting us running. He's probably a Group 1 horse.
Yeah, I really like him. I actually put him up in the blog for Hollywood Bets. I thought the price was ridiculous. Just if you wiped out his run, as you said in France, 7-8-1 was way too big. He was an each way bet to nothing. Playing top 2. And Corobeus, as you said, gave him a great ride, got the fractions perfect, kicked, and I think 2 furlongs out, you couldn't reach for the moon, wasn't pegging him back at all. I think that horse might have not bounced, but he only raced the Sandown, was it 2 weeks prior to it? And that was a hard enough race. He battled with it. I see the stars called us bloody horse.
My Prospero, I think.
Was it? Yeah, my Prospero. That was on the 19th. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Don't know if he enjoyed the ground either. Rattling fast ground.
I just think he was beaten by a better horse, to be honest.
So do I. But yeah.
I think he's a nice horse still going forward for Gosden, but beaten by a better one. Meditate with a Majestic win. Was happy with this one. As we were talking, saying that we go for whatever the O'Brien fillies ran. He's a couple of decent ones. She's very good. We seen her at the Cora. She's very imposing filly. Kind of a big black filly. Very big for a 2-year-old. And she looks very good. The last 2 races, her last furlong has been her best furlong. Really strong through the line. So I'd say she's a Guineas filly for next year, even though she's by No Name Ever, who was a sprinter. But I think she's very good, because I think the second is a decent horse too.
Yeah, when we were talking about it, I suggested that the further she goes, the better she will be. And that's just on the basis of she's an out-and-out front runner. She loves going for a front. And when she hits the line, she never looks like she's at the end of her tether. She looks like she's just getting going. I think it was a furlong pole where then she started pulling away from the field. I think there's a lot more untapped potential in this horse. Yeah. I think it might be no problem to her. She's a very exciting filly. As you said, she's a big girl for a 2-year-old. So you hope that suggests she has a bit of a frame to build in and she's not just a 2-year-old. So, yeah, I'd be very much on her side now going forward.
My girl filly.
Yeah. That's the new marker. Oh, I love this.
Perfect power with the perfect performance. Again, like I said about Little Big Bear, he was drawn to 1 perfect power and had a lot of lengths to make up, probably with 2 furlongs left. His turn of foot is amazing. Christoph Sumian said he had to quicken twice, which is always a sign of a good horse. They can stretch him out 7 furlongs, which works, so loads of options for the horse. Clearly doesn't stay the mile, but he's run 2 bad races in his life. One was in the Guineas, he didn't stay. The other one, Paul Hannigan got him bet, and probably one of the reasons he's lost his job with Richard Fahey, but he got him bet at Goodwood last year. I thought it was a certainty that day, as a terrible ride. But otherwise, it's all ones, 3 Group 1s now. I think he's 4-1 for the July Cup. I think it's fantastic.
I think this horse is always going to be ridiculously overlooked. I don't know why. The second I seen him entered in this race a few weeks back, this is the winner for me every day of the week. He has everything you want for a 6 furlong horse. He travels, he has a turn of foot, and he stays a bit further. He went off 7-2, and in my head, I was thinking this thing should be 7-4. I thought he was miles clear of the rest of them on everything he done, even to last year. His win at the start of the season, I don't see how people aren't seeing he's had to win it so comfortably before. He's won at Ascot last year. He beat Bear's goal last year. Look, as you said, he had to do a bit of racing on his own. Chris Sumian made his room when he needed to, give him a little elbow out of the way, and he just went. I think if he gets his perfect racing conditions, and even a bit of more not cutting the ground, but proper good ground, I think you see a better performance. I think it's going to take a good one to be in this season again.
Yeah, good to form was, I suppose, a bit of a question. He'd like maybe a bit softer, just good ground without firm in it. So all options are open. I think he's very, very good. The fact he can stay 7 You might see a mark weekend in the 7 furlong, the 4 race. So, like, the options are there. And he might actually be the sprinter in England that people have been waiting for, where he may come back next year and, win Group 1 sprints at 2, 3, and 4, which doesn't happen that
He
often.
has all the attributes.
Mm-hmm.
He travels with a strong pace. He goes on any ground. Like, he's won on good form. Hold on, let me get it here. His win at Ascot last year was on good form. Paul Hannigan got him beat on good to soft. He won on good stuff. Won on good form again. Won on good. Won on form. And I don't think he'll have any problem. His debut was on soft ground over 5 furlongs. Well, that was standard. That was on the all-weather. Don't mind that. But I think even a bit of soft ground won't do him any harm. If the soft ground, I think he'll drop down to 5 furlongs. Why not? I think he has a lot going for him. I think there's a lot of options for him, and I think he can go wherever the hell he wants.
Well, I hope it's July Cup, then the race at Haydock, Spring Cup, and then Arc Weekend.
No, stay away from Arc Weekend.
Why?
With KCU for that. That's not
No, different race.
Oh, is it? That's okay. Not go to the Abbey. 5 furlongs.
KCU is 5 furlongs. Just
I know.
perfect Derby going 7.
The ground.
7.
I know, but
won't make a difference. He's by our dad, so it won't make a difference. In Spiral, wow. Yeah, she was immense. Really nice filly, very well bred filly. She pretty much destroyed all the ones from the Guineas, so it's just unfortunate for Gosling and Frankie, I suppose, that she didn't make the Guineas. It was hard. I fancied her, but it was hard for me to back her after such a long layoff, and all the other fillies haven't run well, but she done the same thing she did to him last year. She just travels away and kicks away, wins easy.
It was a weird market because when we previewed it, she was odds on. She then, the morning of it, she hit, I think, 3-1, 10-3.
Yeah, she went out.
She was backed into 15-8.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to make of the market that way, but the performance she put in, she was slow away. She's keen enough throughout the race. She didn't get a clear run. But then when she got a bit of daylight, she was gone. The race was over in a matter of strides. I hope herself and Homeless Song meet somewhere, because that'll be some race. The two of them have kind of the same running style, where have this injection of pace to go clear. And I'd love to see him have a clear run, a furlong and a half out, and two of them go for it. Made the best horse win.
It'll be ground dependent, I suppose. You won't have form in it if Homeless Songs is going to be there. But Inspire will go on softer ground, I'm sure, as well. Anyway, so
think she get further.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see maybe her rocking up in the Nassau at Goodwood. 1 mile 2. She's a very good filly.
Right.
Ryan gets the guard home. Super ride from Ryan Moore. Got the fractions right, just barely hung on, but the horse must have some constitution to come back from the Derby, come 5th in the Derby, and be able to do that and do it the way he did it. Same with Nashua today, actually, from coming back from the Oaks. Because a lot of the times, horses that run in the Derby and go to this race or other races, it's like a second thought, and they go off favourite and don't win. But this fellow was back like the feet was out of the question, and the horse in second gave him an all to do, but he did it.
Yeah, look, as you touched on there, Ryan Moore's ride on this was unbelievably well. Why he's probably one of the best in the world, if not the best. His horse was off the bridle from the word go, more or less, and pushed along properly from about 4.5, 5 furlongs out. Ryan was getting really stuck into him, and the horse's metal to keep going to the end. I think if the horse in second was closer to him, I think changing the guard would have went again. I think he was just getting a bit lonely by the end.
He didn't see him, I don't think.
He didn't see him by the end because he kept Danny Toto kept him wide, and he's touched on. He had a great week as well. He gave this a good ride to keep whether it was the plan not to go wide or what to keep him away from, I don't know. But Ryan hugged that rail the whole way around and got his fractions spot on, and it's just one of his good rides again throughout the week. He's a horse that I think he would enjoy a bit of good ground, well firm in the description, and I think a slog wouldn't do him any harm as well.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I could see him winning the St. Ledger.
Think so?
Yeah.
I think if he is to win it, I think he'll want a bit of juice in the ground.
He just keeps going forward. He's easy to ride. You just stick him out in front and away you go.
Be interesting to see now if he I know he had a bit of company for most of the way, but if he actually had someone to aim at instead of being up at the pace.
Nice horse.
Oh, that's the wrong button.
Broome brushes aside his rivals. Very good. That's a good one, yeah.
Said that?
Yeah, that's very good, yeah.
Thanks.
The good story to this, because I didn't know he broke his shin bone
I didn't know that either.
in Japan when in his last race before the Tattersalls Gold Cup. And the vet that looked after him, and they were saying he basically saved his life and saved his racing career, was at Ascot then yesterday. He's something to do with the owner. It's like he became racing manager or something. But I thought he was unbelievable. And you were saying about Nature Strip being better as a 7-year-old. Ryan and Aidan were saying that he's the best he's ever been as a 6-year-old, and Aidan reckons that he'll kick on from Saturday. Although he's won a Group 1 last year, I think it was in France, that was by far his best performance. A Hurricane Lane probably needed the race and would prefer the ground a little bit softer. I think that's obvious. Big horse, all his running last year was on softer, and I think Godolphin are full on for him to try and win the Arc. But it was a very good performance. Solid Stone's form went into the race, was quite strong. The horse in second has good form. He's turned himself inside out. Lafayette has been mopping up races in Ireland, so I mean he battered them all, so can't have any questions on it.
No, as you said there, it's by far his best performance his whole career. I think he just loves being out in front on his own, and just he came on a mile from his run at the Curragh the last day. I think that was near enough his 30th race of his career already. So he's a battle hardened.
Yeah, he's very, very tough.
Loves the game.
He's one now. I didn't back him, but I was so happy to see him win. It's like a jumps horse. You see him coming back year after year. It's great.
And that's what it's one you can keep going on with every year. You get an affiliation with him. Oh, jeez, he was good.
And he wouldn't have much stud value. He's won Group 3s, Group 2 as a Group 1. He's still an entire horse, and he will eventually go to stud maybe the end of this year. And he'll probably sire jumpers. But, I mean, if he sires jumpers and they're as tough as he is.
And he does look like a horse that needs 3 miles in the fence.
Yeah. So, be great to see his babies now being trained by Willie Mullins in a few years' time.
I can see him rocking up now in the Irish St. Ledger.
You might even get a ride off Any Power.
Imagine. How his fortunes have changed. Obviously, 5th in the Derby before.
Yeah, he's nearly dead as well with that boat and shin bone.
What Derby was he in? Let's have a go.
He was in the English Derby.
He was in the Derby behind Anthony Van Schuyt.
Anthony Van Dyke, yeah. And then the Irish Derby.
Trushan, Sunchar, Thunder's Noise, Helvic Dream, remember him last year? Helvic Dream and him had about 4 races in a row against each other. Mm-hmm. He was then 4th behind Aliyar Ascot last year.
He won a Group 1 before that. Yeah. Some horse. He's been around for years.
He's like he said, he's a globetrotter. He's at the run in Japan and France and America.
I hope he kicks on anyway and wins another
race. He's
a
horse you'd love to own. Where are we to next? I'm just going through the races we put up last week.
I think there's 2 left. Naval Crown the best. Again, a race that did nothing for me. A really good ride by James Doyle. He's the one that first came to that rail. I think it was starting to change Friday, and he obviously realised if I can get a freebie on the rail here, I could go a long way. Because I said to you after the race, watching it, I think the better horses actually finished in the middle, but that rail side ground was faster. And it was a bit, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't win another race all season. I stand corrected if he does, but a lot of these, I'm sure, go to the July Cup. I see Perfect Power beating all of them.
He took full advantage of the Golden Highway.
Yeah,
full advantage.
That was a great race because there's loads of horses in it and like good for betting each way terms and all that, but just the winner does nothing for me.
No, 24 runner Group 1. Like you've you have a lot of horses who will come back and beat each other day in, day out. But I think if they come up against Perfect Power on suitable ground, I think Perfect Power will just win.
Yeah. I hope he does. I hope Perfect Power is what we believe him to be. Because a few years back, Caravaggio and Harry Angel were around and they won their Group 1s, but they never kicked on and did it a couple of times in a row. So
Perfect Power is a horse you can actually have confidence going behind that. He's backed it up already doing.
Do you know what as well? I think if he was trained by Aiden or Charlie Appleby, he'd be half the price he is every race.
I could not believe the price he was at Ascot. But I was absolutely delighted to see a KCU finish 17th.
Yeah, he'll go back to the RB. And a lot beyond the draw, but he had a bad draw last year and managed to get the job done. So
we are finishing with.
And the last one, before we just touch on some of the jockeys and stuff, Ryan with a masterclass on Rohaan. Unreal ride. The horse is a bit of a monkey. Obviously, he was out of form for a while, but he needs to be ridden that way. A real strong pace, held out the back, and then come with a late rattle. And didn't even touch him, I don't think, with the whip. It was just fine gaps, put him in between horses, and he won easily going away. Now, whether he'll win again for the rest of the season, I don't know. But to win 2 Wokinghams back-to-back years at big prices, I'm sure the owners had decent bets. Unreal. And Ryan was unreal all week.
Yeah, it was unbelievable, right? We were watching together. I had him backed and I seen him at the back. I was like, "Good Jesus Christ, you want to have a rocket up his arse to win this?" Half a furlong out, he comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, I said
out of nowhere. I the picture. I was like, "Where the hell is he coming out?"
I said to you, half furlong out, Rohan's going to win, and you were like, "I can't even see him."
It's like, where he was.
I'm telling you, he's going to win. He's flying.
It was unbelievable, right? Hands and heels the whole way. He got the splits when he wanted. I thought it was unbelievable run. Summering Hand will win next time up.
Yeah, there's some good performances. In the video before Ascot, I said Jumbie each way, but wasn't sure what would run. He ran another good race. Unfortunately, just keeps knocking into a couple that beat him. Keep going up the handicaps hard. Mr. Wagyu form was good. He came back to form the last time at Epsom.
I think the first 6 will win a race this season.
So
I think first folio on this ground, but on the strip of where he can actually get a bit of cover and pace to aim at. I think he'll win a big one. Yeah,
Blackrod and Fresh were drawn on the wrong side and still ran well. So they're good. I think it was a good race.
Right, what are we talking about now?
First of all, just touch on Holly winning
on the dial
again on Nashua. She gave it a great ride.
First female jockey to win a classic.
Yeah, it's unreal. And, I'd say she's going to be John Gosling's next jockey.
Yeah.
I had a feeling. I said it, I think, before the Oaks, when Frankie, he'd made a mistake on something. And he did make a mistake on Emily Upjohn in the Oaks. And he's done a few more. And Gosling's frustration obviously came out. We're kind of touching on the next part together, but I think Holly will get the job with Gosling.
I think it's only a matter of time. I think it'll happen next season. She's by far in the top 5 jockeys around. Herself, Tom Marquand, James Buick, William Buick, Ryan.
Yep.
And probably James Doyle.
Look, Colin Keenan's class as well. You left him out, but he needs to stop concentrating on winning the Irish jockeys title and start going to England now and trying to win the bigger race.
Start going to England, go to France, get outside rides. Yeah. I don't think it helped his cause that Ryan Moore is still on the top of his game for him to get the Ballyjoyle job next, which has been talked about for ages. But yeah, I think that's a good shout. It's like the Nicky Henderson situation. I think it's only a matter of time before Sean or James Bowman gets the Nicky Henderson job when Nico makes one more balls up.
Yeah. Look, when Gosling, and it's touching on Frankie, a few people have asked in the comments, and Frankie gave a couple of horses a bad ride. I don't really subscribe to the Stradivarius one, because to me, Stradivarius is 8-year-old now and just don't have the legs. If Strad was the Strad he was even 2 years ago, I think he would have won that race, because he had a turn of foot on good firm ground that other stayers didn't have. But the not taking the blindfold off Lord North was chronically bad, and I know the ride on Trawler Man in one of the handicaps, he didn't even try, and he's been doing that for a long time.
Still for a decade.
It's just I think it's getting more highlighted now because he made mistakes like on Emily Upjohn, and they're big rides. He can do what he did on Inspiral. If a horse,
Jesus Christ, anyone could have won on that day.
And it looks flashy and all that, and he gets the plaudits for it. But I said it before, unless a horse at the moment anyway, Frankie, like he is getting older as well. I don't think he has the strength anymore. A 50-year-old is not going to be as strong as a 30-year-old. Let's be honest about it. If a horse doesn't bring him to the front and kick away, he's in trouble.
And I just you reminded me of something there of an interview Johnny Murtagh done a few weeks back, where he alluded to when he was a youngster in his 20s, he was going up against Lester Pickett at the Curragh, and he said, "I'm glad I came up at a 50-year-old Lester Pickett when he was 20-year-old, because if he was 10 years younger, he would have beat me."
Yeah,
and I think that's what's happening now.
Yeah, Rodney Mackey did same on Saga. Yeah, and Gosling said Saga should have won as well, and he should have, and Ryan out battled him on Saga as well. It just, I think he's 51 or 52 now. He's doing well to still be at the top of his game at the age he is, but to me he doesn't have the strength anymore, and he does misinterpret race riding sometimes regards like the pace and stuff. He can be too far back.
I don't think he's anywhere near the top of his game. If he was at the top of his game, he would have had the strength to get Emily Upjohn to Beach Tuesday. Ryan Moore won that by jockeyship and strength. The same with a few of his rides over the weekend. His racing brain is gone. He's definitely questioning himself. And you can even John Gosling, they're definitely after falling now.
Yeah.
Because you can see when he came in on Spire, he said, "Oh yeah, after me jockey stopped waving to the crowd, I managed to have a word with him."
Yeah. Well, Gosling seems wicked frustrated by the whole thing. And I never liked it anyway. Frankie makes it all about him. And I suppose there's nothing you can say when he's on an able and he's doing the job all the time. But Gosling's wicked frustrated because he knows there's races left behind that he should have won this year. Like he should have an Oaks winner in there. And then eventually, like Gosling got rid of William Buick. So that shows you Buick had, I think, half a bad season, and it was like, "You're young, off you go somewhere else." So Gosling's not going to hang around, but
it'd be interesting to see now the next time Emily Upjohn runs, will he actually put him on him, or will he put Holly on him?
See, but I can't. Whatever about the end of this season, I can't see. I think if Frankie wins a big race towards the end of the season, he'll retire.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. I'd be shocked if he's right next season.
Frankie is a showman too, and he'll want some sort of like to win a big race. Maybe not the Arc, but like even if he was on Emily Upjohn and won the King George, because she might go for the King George, I could see him down flying dismount and saying, "I'm done."
I thought he was going to do that in the Spire. Yeah. I thought he was going to say, "This is my last season,"
because it'll make it all about him then as well.
The whole rest of the season about him.
But yeah, like one lad said, took no responsibility for Strad, but he doesn't getting beaten. But he doesn't take responsibility for anything getting beaten. He just, he just moves on.
Like you can go back, even he got that sprinter bed a few years ago. Remember, was it
the Wesley Ward one?
Yeah, the Amanda White with the
Marshall beat him. When he thought he was up and he was riding.
And he stopped riding it like a few strides before the line.
Oh, God. David Sheehan, RIP Arcadian Sunrise. Yeah, I saw this before I came over. He came back from Royal Ascot, and he's only up the road, where it was up the road, Queeley's stables in Dungarvan. And when he came back, he wasn't well. And the story was they thought he had colic, so they were trying to walk him to try and make him feel better. But they brought him to the vets and he just deteriorated. The vet didn't even know what happened to him, but he had to be put down yesterday. Yeah, he was only getting better too. Apparently they were all guns blazing for the Galway hurdle. Like, he's a great horse. He'd be able to win flat handicaps over long distances and hurdles. And
no idea what's up with him.
Best horse in the stable for Queeley as well. It's very sad, like.
I wonder what
Queeley said they have to do like a post-mortem to figure out exactly what happened. But he was sick when he came back anyway.
Will it have anything to do with the heat?
No idea.
Because was it near on mid-30s?
Tom might know better than that now, but I don't know.
Because Look at what the videos that Tony Mullins put up about Princess Zoe.
Mhm.
She was banging against the wall and biting herself
Mhm.
and rolling around. They thought it was colic as well.
Yeah,
She was getting colic, but she suddenly came back to herself.
I don't know.
They said it was heat exhaustion.
I like them a lot. You know, when you've just you kind of like a horse, and he like I'm after backing him a few times, and he's second or third.
You do like the dual purpose horses.
Yeah, he's just one that I liked, and when I seen it, I was like, oh fuck. You know, it's any horse is sad, but like it's like, oh, I really like that horse,
especially for a small trainer.
So, touching on jockeys as well. Just Roy Moore was unreal all week. Danny Tudhope unreal all week.
We got a comment on Twitter, but like, why are people talking about Roy Moore being the best in the world when Danny Tudhope done what he done? Yeah, fair enough, but Roy Moore is the best in the world.
Yeah, like
Roy Moore can do it from the front, he can do it from the back, he can do it on big days, he can do it on small days.
I know what your man is saying, because Tudhope is up and coming and he's on horse that are bigger prices. But the pressure is on the jockey because, like,
Roy Moore's on horses that are expected to win.
Exactly. So it's much of a muchness. They're both good. Chris Dassumian there as well. Yeah, he was unbelievable on Perfect Power. Didn't panic when others probably would, but again, that comes with knowing the horse.
James McDonald as well.
Not that she watches the show, but Megan Nichols, I applaud her for what she said yesterday about Mr. Cut, who was given a brilliant ride by James McDonald. What she said? Ben Curtis has been on that horse the 3 times that he ran. Did nothing wrong. The owner just said he wanted a different jockey. A jockey that's ridden at like big meetings, and gave it to the Australian James McDonald. But Ben Curtis did absolutely nothing wrong. That no fallout, but was just taken off the horse. And she was saying about it's great to see the horse win and like George Bowie to have a favourite and all that. But how can the smaller jockeys ever get a chance to get their name in the limelight when they're not even given the chance? And if they don't do anything wrong and it's taken from them, how are they going? It's different if he gave the horse a bad ride and then it was like, right, look, you're taking off. Because that's what happened to Hannigan last year in Perfect Power. He'd be on it otherwise. But he did nothing wrong and it was taken from him.
It's like Frankie, what he done in the... Well, it's not Frankie's fault, obviously, but...
In the Derby, 3 years in a row, yeah.
It's like Adam Kirby, Tom Marquand.
And Gavin Ryan. And like, Gavin Ryan might have got things wrong in the Derby as well, but like, at least give him a chance.
But I don't see why they do take him off. If they've know the horse, they've got the best out of the horse, they've won the races with the horse, leave him on the horse.
This is my point when we were talking about the Frankie thing, and that's what Megan Nichols was saying, like, and she obviously knows the story. She's like, he's been on the horse 3 times. He obviously rides him out. He knows the horse. He's a relationship with the horse. He knows what way the horse wants to be ridden. Like, why would you take him off? And now it ended up being okay because the horse won. It was so far ahead in the handicap anyway. But
you know what it's really like? It's like cup final. The man has been taking penalties all season, and the superstar is back, and he gets given the penalty and he misses.
It's like in the football when they fucking have the goalie in the Euro, the crap competitions all the way through, and then if they get to the final, he don't get to play. Shit, like,
or it's like you're taking off your goalkeeper, putting another one on for the penalties.
And the last thing then, and it was mentioned in the comments, and I said I'd go back to it at the end, and we'll mention it next week when Tom is back, which has been 4 more cases of drug offences.
Has there?
Yes. John McConnell was one of them, and there's a few others. And it was
the others.
I have to go back and look at it all, but
it's on Reasonable.
It's on like the HRI thing again. We'll talk about it next week when Tom is back. We'll have a discussion, the 3 of us, and go have a story say next week on Talking Points about it. But it's not a good look. Jim Bulger was adamant there was drugs in horses in Ireland, and it's just more and more every week. So it's not a good look. I can't remember who mentioned the comment there, but we will talk about it next week. We'll just leave Tom come back because I know Tom will want to talk about that anyway.
But he's not back next week, is he?
Oh, maybe he'll be on holidays. We'll discuss with Tom anyway, and we'll go from there.
Nah, not yet. I'll have to find it. It'll take me time to find
Puddy will send it to me anyway. He sent me some of the stuff, and I've seen some of the other stuff on Twitter as well. Other than that, it's been good. It's been a good week.
Been good. Oh, the Curragh Derby weekend next weekend, we are giving away 5 pairs of tickets for the Friday. So the competition is already up on Twitter, and it's actually gone quite mental. 26 retweets, 30 likes. So all you have to do is go over to our Facebook, Twitter page, like, retweet, and comment on the ticket post, and the winners will be announced on Tuesday, and tickets will be sent to your email.
We might be up there.
We will be up there.
Yeah, be there Saturday. I don't know if we're drinking or staying, but we'll be there. We'll try and organise something. Anyway.
We know close to the time.
But yeah, it'll be good. I've never been to the Irish Derby, so.
No, either have I.
No, it'll be nice to see.
Let's have a quick look at the entries while we're here.
I looked at them earlier. What's his name? My favourite.
Yeah, man. Huge.
Stone Age is second favourite anyway. Andrew's tip.
Ooh, my tip.
Yeah, Westover, that's the one. Can't see him winning. 5-4, don't like it. So
Stone Age from the front.
We'll be having a bet. I might go David Manusia's horse, Lionel.
You don't like him?
I do. I put him up in the podcast ages ago, and then I didn't back him when he won. Graham Butcher, and it's Cartmel. It's Cartmel on Saturday. We know what we're doing.
Is it Cartmel on Saturday?
Cartmel on Saturday. A couple of horses at Cartmel.
There's a Queen tribute band playing after racing on Friday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, that car will be dropped back to the hotel and getting a taxi back. The yoke that won the French Derby, I believe, is being supplemented for the Coral Eclipse, Vidani. So that'll be a good race too. Other than that, that's it.
We'll be back on Wednesday with a preview for the Irish Derby before we go up and watch some flat yaks. And then we might even do a Cheltenham tip on Sunday after. Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Yes.
We'll do Talking Minds on Sunday as normal, back at 8 o'clock. We'll discuss with Tom, come back with these stories about drug cheats and all the rest.
Outdoor stables and all that jazz.
We'll discuss the Irish Derby, and we'll get an anti-post bet for Cheltenham going.
Yeah.
That'll be the second one of the year.
Who did you put up first? Who
did I put up? Oh, what's her name? Allegory de Vase.
Allegory de Vase?
I can't remember who Tom put up. Who did Tom put up? Oh, 3 Stripe Life. Never mind. Getting in early and often. Is Vidani a yak? I don't think Vidani is a yak. No, I think he's good
enough.
On that note,
we'll see you next week.
Have a pleasant Sunday and let Rory McIlroy do the business.
Come on, Rory.